I loved the idea that we were hiring the candidates directly versus I know a lot of other platforms, the platform hires the candidate and then maybe 20, 30, 40% of the actual fees go through to the employee. I think what that ultimately meant is I was able to pay my analyst more than if I'd gone through an agency.
I remember a couple times just telling them what our a typical admin costs for us. They hear the number $1,000 or $1,200 a month or something, and they immediately think per week. I can just tell, and I'm like, no, per month. And then when it registers, you can see their eyes open, and they're like, oh.
Sagan has a lot of the templates and frameworks of how to onboard someone, how to actually bring them onto the Western culture. I don't need to take all the ownership of acclimating someone that maybe is not fluent in United States business culture to doing this. So I think that even makes the process of hiring globally easier, right?
So I run a senior housing advisory firm. It's an investment advisory crossover firm. We spend most of our time working with institutional capital partners and operators, working on their existing portfolios. We also originate loans for a Big Four financial institution in the US for their senior housing portfolio.
I have a couple of different businesses actually, but I would say the main one is we have a real estate investment firm. We specialize in commercial real estate, and then we have kind of a side company, which is where most of my team works, which operates and manages all of that real estate here in the US.
I own a land flipping and development company. And I also do private consulting for people that are interested in scaling this business. So it's basically a private equity company that buys and flips and develops land throughout the United States. We're in 35 states. And also, kind of a consultant to come alongside as a co-GP for development deals and also to help people scale.
I have personally hired one candidate through Sagan. Her name was Mariana Livas Gonzalez, and she was in Mexico. I was blown away by the quality of her background. She literally went from being an analyst for a publicly traded company in Mexico one day to working for my firm the next week, and was really just high quality. I had an insanely incredible experience with Mariana. Couldn't ask for a better candidate in the US or elsewhere. Just incredibly wonderful candidate.
I think we have 18 people on our team. I think 4 or 5 have been hired directly with job postings, and we've probably hired another 5 to 7 through the talent pool. I think the way some of the information you gather for the job description or placement, the ability to score certain attributes and rank them, I think that's unique. And I think it's definitely an advantage, and helpful. I think you provide more resources on different roles and salary expectations and, kind of what roles might align well in certain regions, which is a good, helpful use source for someone who's hiring for a new role, especially. I found that helpful and different.
I have hired a couple, I think maybe 1 or 2 from the talent pool, and then obviously the regular white glove membership. Honestly, the process was very, very easy. It was an email introduction to myself or a team member, and we just get on a call. It's they're already basically vetted, which makes it really, 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 really simple for us to review. That was a very easy process. I think the communication is really critical. And I felt that throughout the process, I was very, very involved and requested the feedback. And I've seen it get better during my membership. And I've been here almost a year at this point, but I've seen the process get actually better, faster, and the communication improving.
People in my network that have been hesitant to hire remotely, even just for very simple administrative functions. A lot of their hesitation was really just out of not understanding the possibilities. I mean, they're so biased and like have such a narrow understanding of what an employee or a worker can be and like what they cost even. For me, it's been a superpower. Like our business, typically if we hired locally is a high churn, lower wage type jobs. And so our team has much more stability, much more loyalty and resilience because we're using remote teammates. And it's allowed us to grow and scale because there's just a huge pool of talent that we can go to. It's kind of removed the obstacle of labor for us as we've grown.
Sagan absolutely knocked it out of the park in finding the most amazing candidate that I could possibly imagine. Yeah, I think everyone should use Sagan.